Hey, it's Fox from Inferno Fox Gaming, and I've got a special episode for you today. I've asked some of my favorite YouTube content creators the following question. What RPG were you less than excited to play, yet once you started you were hooked? Make sure to let me know what your choices are in the comments section below. There are no words enough for me to say how thrilled I am to have my guests here with me. So let's get this show on the road.
Hi there everybody, this is David from the channel David Vink, and thank you so much Glenn for having me on your channel to talk about RPGs that I didn't think that I was gonna like, but I ended up just loving. And I kind of have a poster child for this, and it's Monochrome Mobius, Rights and Wrongs Forgotten. So, let me give you a little bit of a backstory here. I was sent this game by Nice America to review on, and I was like, ugh, do I really want to do a review on this? I didn't know anything at all about it. All I knew was that it was part of the Utuero Munu visual novel series, and I hate visual novels. I cannot stand them. They are so boring to me. But I went ahead and I gave it a shot. I mean, I figured if it sucks, I could just blast it and make a funny video out of it, but, you know, if it's good, maybe I'll find a hidden gem. And that is exactly what happened. A hidden gem was found. And while this does take place in the same universe, and it does star the same characters from that series, it has nothing else at all to do with visual novels. In fact, if I was going to compare this game to anything else, I would end up comparing it to something like Grandia, because of the really unique involved combat system, where you can break and delay your enemies' turns. There is massive sprawling world maps with on-screen encounters, tons of treasures behind every corner, and side quests to do in town. This is a traditional RPG through and through, so don't let the name or the pedigree scare you off, because if you are looking for a classic turn-based RPG that you can get lost in, look no further than this. Thank you again so much Glenn for allowing me to come onto your channel and gush a little bit about this hidden gem, and I do hope to see all of you over at my channel David Vink, and have a good day everybody.
Hey, it's Feral Inferno, and today our good friend Inferno Fox asked us, what was an RPG that you really weren't too keen on at first, but once you started playing it, you couldn't put it down? And I got the perfect game for this story. Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Oh man, I popped this in, I was like, I'll play for an hour, see what it's like, and I was done. I got introduced to Rex and Nia and Pyra in the beginning and all these other characters, and I was just like, oh man, this game is awesome. The opening scene in the first hour or so with Gramps and the dragon and all these other things going on, oh man, it blew me away. And I was like, what have I been waiting for? And I was sucked into this game for about 3 months, doing all the side quests, doing all the stories, finding all the characters. And I loved it so much that after I completed the game, I said, I need more. I need more of this. So I said, all right, I'm going on to eBay and I'm buying the special edition. I should have just bought it when I had the chance. Unfortunately, it got a little bit damaged in shipping because the guy, he mailed it in a bubble mailer, but he was cool and gave me half off. He was going to give it to me for free, and I was like, I don't want it for free. I'd feel really bad, but I was like, how about we do half off? I guess I really don't know how to negotiate that well. I could have had it for free. But no, I didn't want to do that. But no, seriously though, this was such an awesome thing to get. And it was right before Pyra and Mythra got announced for Smash, and then everything Xenoblade Chronicles 2 just skyrocketed in price. So I was very happy to get this at a reasonable price. The only thing was missing was the game, which I already had, and the Steelbook. So I am missing the Steelbook, but I'm really glad to have this. This is a really awesome special edition, and I've got all the Xenoblade Switch special editions now. But I got the CD, which I love this artwork, and this is actually the background right here, the pink one, this pink stuff here, the pink background with the Aegis Blade and the green X is the background to my cell phone, so I absolutely love this artwork on this CD. Inferno Fox, thank you so much for having me on this collaboration and giving me an opportunity again to gush and talk about Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which was my 2020 Game of the Year. Thanks again, and until next time, take care.
Hey, this is Emily from Orbitology, and the game I want to talk about that I was hesitant to start, mostly because I wasn't sure if it would be my cup of tea, is Rune Factory for the 3DS. So prior to Rune Factory 4, I had never played a farming simulator, at all. And I was mostly into action adventure sort of games or JRPGs. So the idea of playing a action RPG but with farming elements seemed very foreign to me. And I was a little worried that the farming elements would be a tad bit boring and I would inevitably lose interest during my playthrough. But there's something about the old amnesiac trope where you wake up as this princess in this foreign land and you're told by this grumpy old dragon that you have to go out and manage this town. And to do that, you can start with some farming work. Something just instantly clicked and I found the farming elements just super addictive. And I think Rune Factory 4 here really hit that good balance of getting your chores done early in the mornings and doing all the farm work and maybe talking to some of the villagers and then going out to fight some of the enemies or go explore different various areas and kind of just unlock an adventure. So this was one of my first 3DS games and I got so absorbed and I just loved every minute of this. Really happy that I gave it a try because now I'm more open to other sort of simulation games that include various farming elements that I may not have been as open to without having experienced Rune Factory 4 back in the day.
Hey friends, it's Brandon from Just the Gems. Thanks so much to Inferno Fox for having me on to talk about one of my favorite action RPGs, Crystar. Crystar doesn't get the love it deserves, but if I'm being honest, I can sort of understand why. Graphically, it's not the prettiest game of the generation, and for an action RPG, the action is just a little bit stiff. But if those elements are viewed by some as shortcomings, I have to say that the rest of the package more than makes up the difference. Crystar's storytelling is beautiful, a truly masterful story of grief and revenge and insanity. Each of the 4 characters you control have their own tragic stories and their own personal triumphs as well, and discovering each of them as you progress is amazing. To sum up the overall story, Crystar follows Ray, a teenage girl who, along with her younger sister, finds herself suddenly transported into purgatory. How is that possible, you might be asking? I don't know, what do I look like, a priest? Anyway, as the 2 sisters try and make their escape back to the real world, Ray is inadvertently responsible for her sister's death. Yeah, this is a sad game if the name Crystar didn't tip you off. So Ray forms a pact with a pair of demons to gain powers and to clean up purgatory of rogue spirits, and in return, be able to restore her sister to life. It gets much more complicated than that, though. What stands out for me beyond everything else are the performances by the English actors. There is so much weight behind each of the characters, and this is due to the excellent voice work and direction. It elevates a story that's already good, if a little overly complex at times. Still, the characters keep you grounded, so no matter how crazy things get, you're always able to follow the heart of the story. If you keep in mind that this gets heavy, and if you're cool with that, then I think you'll enjoy Crystar as much as I did.
What's up everyone, Alex here from Backlog Battle, and I make JRPG videos, Japanese games, and trying to level up the fun in games again because there's a lot of negativity out there and I want to bring back the fun in games. This video, I want to talk about a game that I was kind of iffy about playing, but then really loved it after I played it, which is Dragon Quest VIII. Now, I say this because I originally got Dragon Quest VIII because of the Final Fantasy XII demo that came packed with it. And before this, I didn't really take a shine to Dragon Quest VII, which was released in the PS1 many years ago. It still looked really classic, and at the time, I was looking for more higher fidelity graphics that really represented the characters in a less chibi way and a more anime way. And Dragon Quest VIII, surprisingly enough, really had a lot of the things that I was looking forward to in a modern game, like actual 3D models with the characters that really made Akira Toriyama's artwork pop, along with a symphonic soundtrack that was actually exclusive to the Western version of the game. I actually didn't know this until I looked it up way later. And coupled with the fact that it had classic Dragon Quest gameplay that I did love, and so Dragon Quest VIII felt like this huge unraveling adventure with some truly lovable characters and an incredible story that really tugged at my heartstrings that very few games are able to accomplish. Coupled with the fact that it had some really incredible voice acting as well, and Dragon Quest VIII easily going from something that was a slight consideration to one of my 10 out of 10 JRPGs of all time. Inferno Fox, thank you very much for having me in this collab, and if you enjoyed this part of the video, please head on over to youtube.com/backlogbattle and hit that subscribe button. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Hello everyone, my name is Fedra from Cozy Veggie here on YouTube, and I just want to thank Inferno Fox for allowing me to be part of this collab. So when I think of a game that I had low expectations going into but ended up surpassing those expectations, I have to mention Final Fantasy XIII. Final Fantasy XIII follows Lightning and her allies as they navigate the world of Cocoon, seeking to overthrow the theocratic government. The story revolves around the characters' struggle against the oppressive rule of the fal'Cie, powerful beings that control their destinies. As they uncover the mysteries of the l'Cie curse and confront their fates, they discover a larger conspiracy threatening the existence of both Cocoon and the world below, Pulse. The narrative explores themes of fate, free will, and sacrifice in a visually stunning and highly cinematic JRPG experience. Now, when I first got into this game, I knew that the talks about this game were not the greatest. A lot of Final Fantasy veterans quote this to be their least favorite. It's kind of the black sheep, and not many people love the characters. The story was kind of overcomplicated, and overall was a pretty bad game in the Final Fantasy line of games. So going into it for myself, I was kind of skeptical and worried that I also too wouldn't love it. But after experiencing it for myself firsthand, I actually really enjoyed my time with it. For me, I actually enjoyed the linearity of it all, being able to go to point A and point B and know where I need to go. I also really loved the combat style of it and being able to really utilize different team compositions and going into each battle knowing this team comp works better for this battle and boss. I also really loved the characters. I'm not gonna lie, at first they were kind of annoying, not gonna lie, but as you go along the journey with them, you grew to really love them, and by the end of it, you truly felt like you went along that journey with them. Overall, I really enjoyed my time with FF13, and out of all the Final Fantasies that I've played, which is not that many, it's definitely on my top 5, which I know might be blasphemous for some, but I definitely enjoyed my time with Final Fantasy XIII. Again, thank you so much, Inferno Fox, for allowing me to be part of this video, and I can't wait to see what other people have to say.
Everybody, it's FemTrooper, and thank you, Glenn, for having me on today to talk about an RPG that I was really not excited to play. And honestly, what comes to mind is Triangle Strategy, and was I ever wrong? So I didn't want to play Triangle Strategy because I didn't really like Octopath Traveler. Hear me out. Octopath Traveler was so grindy, and I actually put it down. I actually quit. I have not, to this day, I have not beat it because I kind of dropped it, and it was getting ridiculous, so I felt like I was spending hours and going nowhere. So I thought, oh my gosh, this is made by the same people, it's going to be just as grindy. Oh my god, and it's a strategy RPG, so it's even harder because I'm still not the greatest at those. And then I just kind of wrote it off. I did not want anything to do with it. And I kind of just thought, it looks great, but not for me. Then the game came out, and there was a demo, and I tried the demo, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute, this is actually great. And one of my friends had said, but they're gonna do difficulty settings on this. And I was like, what? So, yes, I could actually play this game on easy, because I'm still not the best strategy RPG person. And I played it, the demo really, really hooked me, and it turns out this game is amazing. Triangle Strategy is one of the biggest surprises to me in games because it was a game I actually completely didn't want to play at all. And then when I played it, now it's one of my favorite games. To me, this is like an amazing Switch game. It's perfection. It's really, really good. Now, there's a lot of dialogue in this game, don't get me wrong, but it's interesting, it's fantastic, and each chapter has like a crazy cliffhanger at the end. And so when you get to the end of a chapter, you're like, oh my god, and you can't wait to keep playing. So it's really, really interesting, and I was so hooked. I couldn't wait to see what happened next. There were so many like jaw-dropping moments. It's honestly a really, really good one. So if you're like me and you're like, because Octopath Traveler, I know there were a lot of people that were iffy on it. Trust me, don't worry about that. This is different. This is really, really, really interesting for starters, has a great story, and is super, super, super accessible. And if you like strategy RPGs, you'll be right at home. And if you're new to them or just not very good, you're also gonna be just fine. Definitely recommend Triangle Strategy. Give it a shot. It's really, really great. And yeah, one of my favorite games. Thank you again, Glenn, for having me on. So excited to participate, and I'm looking forward to seeing what other surprises people have in store. Come check out my channel when you guys get a chance, and excited to see what's next.
Hey folks, Jay from Cold Nights here. And when my good friend, Inferno Fox, asked me to pick a game that I wasn't too sure about in the beginning, but I ended up enjoying immensely, I had no choice but to pick Atelier Maruru, the Apprentice of Arlen. Years ago, on one of my many trips to GameStop, I came across a game called Atelier Maruru, The Apprentice of Arlen. I had heard a bit about the prior two installments on the PS3, Atelier Totori and Atelier Rorona. The games had an interesting aesthetic, with very colorful pastel and florals. The characters were heavily inspired by shoujo anime and seemed cute. I had heard there was a timed element to the games, which didn't sound too enticing though. But, seeing as they were released by Gust and NIS, I decided to pick up Atelier Maruru as I thought it may attain some future value. To my surprise, the story was immediately engrossing. Maruru was a simple, maybe even a little airheaded girl, but she had such heart and determination to not only become an alchemist, but to help her kingdom thrive. Her father, the king, gives her 3 years to learn her craft and prove herself to him. She is joined in her quests by various childhood friends, kingdom officials, Totori, Rorona, and even returning characters like Pamela the Ghost Lady. All of the characters are vibrant and beautifully illustrated, and have their own little backstories and motivations. There is a ton of replayability to follow all of the characters' stories and explore their combat potential and prowess. The combat is competent and fun, in a simple turn-based battle style. As per usual, certain attacks or items can change the turn order of the characters and monsters. Each character has special attacks that they learn as their level increases. Items made in the unique and classic alchemy system can be used to attack enemies or heal your characters. Said alchemy system is the cornerstone of the series and remains largely unchanged today. As you level up your abilities, you learn to make stronger and more useful ingredients and items. All that being said, my time with Atelier Maruru gave me an enduring love for the Atelier franchise. I since have gone back and played earlier entries like Atelier Annie, Iris, and the Monokemia games. I have also enjoyed many of the newer entries like Ayesha and the Riser series. I am so glad that I decided to give Atelier Maruru a chance. Thanks so much for having me, Fox. Until next time.
Now, my choice was a tough one. Do I pick Mother 1, aka Earthbound 0, aka Earthbound Beginnings? I played this on emulation, thinking its premise was overly simple, but ended up loving the aesthetics, classic JRPG gameplay, and the music. What about Paper Mario? I was one of the many idiots who signed the petitions telling Nintendo to have what was originally named Super Mario RPG 2 look more like its predecessor, yet I ended up falling in love with what I easily feel is the Nintendo 64's best RPG. Or how about Undertale? The graphics admittedly didn't wow me, and the Nintendo eShop's description of date a skeleton, dance with a robot, cook with a fish woman certainly didn't appeal to me either. I went into this game thinking it was more dating sim or something than RPG, but ended up getting wowed by Toby Fox's fantastic, articulated story and absolutely stellar soundtrack. Instead, today I am picking this. That is Pokemon Legends Arceus. Arceus? The title was released in late January 2022, and I picked it up shortly after it came out. I had never played a Pokemon game before this, though I was inspired to thanks to my buddy Jason the 13th. I'd seen some of the memes and whatnot about the simplistic graphics, but figured the gameplay would make it at least worth a try. I'm so glad that I did though, as I absolutely loved jumping out into the wild, exploring the various lands, and getting into the fun battle system with its intricate strength and weaknesses that it has. I also really appreciated how smoothly it was capturing Pokemon out in the wilds. Not only could this be done during battles once Pokemon were weakened, but Pokeballs could be thrown out at Pokemon in the wilds for quick and easy capturing. I also appreciated that Pokemon encountered in the wild could actually attack the Pokemon trainers themselves, which actually helped to inspire the fear of Pokemon that many people had in the game's story and various villages. I ended up completing the story and a good majority of the side quests in my 80 plus hours of gameplay, though I didn't completely finish the Pokédex. While I did buy, but couldn't really get into the next Pokemon game that released that year, Scarlet and Violet, I still enjoyed Arceus quite a bit and am hopeful the next Legends series game plays just like it. Though maybe with a few more quality of life improvements, less bugs, and greater graphical fidelity. Once again, a huge shout out to everyone for joining me here on this collaboration. I'll make sure to include links in the description below to each of their YouTube channels. Please make sure you subscribe for excellent video game content, but before you do, make sure to subscribe here to Inferno Fox Gaming. I've been Fox, thanks again for watching and have a great day.